Okay, so where was I? Research paper overview. So we've already done the proposal. Everybody should have those back. The annotated bibs just came in on Saturday, so I started grading those. I think I'll have the rest of them done tonight and send them back to you so that you can start looking at them. But you don't need the annotated bib in order to do your outline. So even if it does take me an extra day or so, I don't think that you need to rely on that to do the next stage, which is the outline. And on the weblog, you can see the link for the outline. This one is due Saturday, so you might want to start working on it a little bit during this week, especially if you're going to be busy on Saturday. I know that that's prom, but you can turn it in early. So if you look, you can see that the outline is basically a list, and I put a little example in the middle of the page there, of the topics that you're going to address in your paper. You're not writing sentences and you're not writing paragraphs, you're just listing the topics in the order that you plan to go through them. So now that you found all of your information from your sources, now you need to start listing out how your paper is going to flow, because we're not doing a first draft and a second draft or a first and a final draft or a rough draft. We're just doing one draft of the paper, the final. So I want you to turn in an outline to me that I can look over and make suggestions about anything that might be missing or anything that's out of place. So with the outline, I want you to think about, okay, which information do I need to present first in my paper? Like, just so that the person can be oriented toward what my topic is. So look through your research question and say, okay, in my research question, the most basic part of my question is this part right here. And I think you should deal with that first in your paper. Or maybe your research topic is more of a chronology. Some people are like, well, what are the steps from beginning to end to accomplish something? Well, then that would be more like in the order that it would happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I want you to go back to your question, taking into mind all of your information, and just start thinking about and plugging in what your topics are going to be and how you need to organize them. So you just go through and you literally put Roman numeral 1. Well, that's going to just be a statement, probably your research question, right? And then Roman numeral 2 will be the first topic from your question that you need to talk about. I don't know how many subtopics you would have, because it depends on what your main topic is, how many times you have to break that down. But say you're working on one that's about getting a degree, right? And you want to know what it takes to get a degree in mechanical engineering or psychology or whatever. Then I would think that your first main topic would be your undergraduate studies, right? What are you going to do for your bachelor's degree? Look at degree plans. And so then I would put for my main topic something like, bachelor's degree in psychology, but that's not going to end there, because to be a psychologist, you have to go all the way through, advanced degrees. So then I would list out subtopic, maybe first main topic is education, and then maybe subtopic is going to be bachelor's degree, and I might have 10 details under there. You're not writing your paragraphs yet. If you turn in an outline to me that has paragraphs and sentences and you're already writing your paper, then it's not going to be a passing grade, because that's not an outline. So just think about what are the topics in the order. Then once you have the outline, you should be able to write your paragraphs from that. So really it's like a little map of your ideas and how they're going to flow through the paper. Because you've got a lot of moving parts, a lot of different parts to your research question, and now it's just about putting them in the order that makes sense. Does it mean that it's set in stone and when you write your paper you can't move anything around or add anything? No, this is just a working list. Now you're taking all that information that's kind of all over the place and you're saying, okay, these things can go together, these things can go together, and these things for sure need to go at the end because of the way that my topic is playing out. This is where you'll also start to see some holes. You might see, oh, you know what? I never really talked about how to get into law school. I never really found a source for that. I need to go and find a source for that and pull it in so that I can fill in between, this part and this part of my research question. So you might find some gaps in your research. You might have to go and find new sources. You might also find that some of your sources from your bib you decide not to use for whatever reason. You might decide that another source kind of covers it and you don't need that one. So now's the time to kind of evaluate your material and say, okay, this is the stuff I'm going to use and this is where I'm going to put it. Does that make sense? You all know how to do outlines, yes? Do you want me to go through that? Yeah? Okay, so you can see that the way that it's listed, there are tabs. So really, in all formal writing, tabs are super important. I've been talking about that also with the bib, right? So you can see that if you start with Roman numeral 1, which is a capital I and a period, it will start doing it for you on your document. But the Roman numeral, each one of these is going to be a section of the paper, all these main Roman numerals here. So the first section is probably your introductory information, your first paragraph or two about your topic, and then your first main topic. This might be multiple paragraphs. You might have 3 paragraphs about education, right? Or 3 paragraphs of preparation to sell a house, or whatever your topic is. I don't know how many of these you're going to have. I just put 3 as examples there. And if there are subtopics, you just keep indenting over, because what it's showing is the main ones on here, and then the subtopics here, and then the details here. So if I just wanted to look at the main topics, they would be sticking out over here, and I could find them. If I wanted to look at the details. So it's like a drill down, right? So here's the subtopic, and then all my subtopics are in line, and then all my details are in line like that. If your document doesn't automatically do it, I think you can select it from format, or if you start doing it, like usually your computer will pick up on it. Otherwise, it should look like this one, and you can go to this document to put that in. But that's the way that that's worked out. Now, will you always have details over here? Not necessarily. But you should have the Roman numerals and the A, B, C's, how many of them for those you need for your section. I don't know how many sections you're going to have. Do you want to get some water? Okay. I don't know how many sections you're going to have. It depends on the number of questions and pieces of information that you have on your topic. Everybody's kind of going in a different direction, so you'll have as many of these Roman numerals as you need until your question is answered. And then your conclusion will be at the end. Does it make sense? Yes? All right, at the top, you can see I put up here at the top of the page, the paper should be organized in main sections according to the research question. I already talked about that. There should be an effective introduction and conclusion. We will have time. You don't need to write the conclusion and introduction. You can just put the basic information that you want to put there. You can just list it, right? Or you can put your research question here if you want to, since that's the guiding, idea of the paper. It should flow and make sense, so make sure that your topics, go logically from one to the next. Later on, you can worry about transitions and, your paragraphing and all that stuff. This is just sort of to give me an idea of how you're organizing your information. Does that make sense? Are there any questions that you have for me about the outline? Does it make sense? Okay. I keep saying, does that make sense? But y'all probably feel like you're on the spot because you're the only ones in the room at the moment, right? We can touch base with it on Thursday also. So maybe right now, while you have some time, while the seniors are taking their pictures, start working on your outline, take your information and see what for sure do you want to use and where would it go. Start plugging in. You can maybe just copy this from this document into your own document and just start putting in topics and information that you think would fit, and then taking out any sections that you're not going to need, and go in that direction. And then that way on Thursday, you'll have something on paper that you can work from, and if you want to show it to me, on Thursday, you've got something to show me, and then you can maybe even turn it in on Thursday or Friday and be done, and you don't have to worry about Saturday. You're going to prom, all right? Okay? If you're just listening to this on the recording, I'm just going to talk to them for a second. If you're listening to this on the recording, then work on this for Thursday. There's no other homework, so work on that, and then that way you'll have a start for Thursday, and we can hit the ground running in class and see if there's anything that I can help you with. All right? Okay, easy enough.